Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I am going to talk about the play, the basic information, all the major characters, and then I am going to dissect the play act by act, including all the acts and the codes, so that you feel like you have already read the play. So the genre is comedy and fantasy, as we know. This is one of William Shakespeare's most famous and beloved comedies. We are not sure of when it was written, but it was written somewhere around 1594 and 1596, and around 1596 it was performed at the same time. It is set in both the magical realm of fairies and the human world of Athens. So they are intertwining the lives of young lovers, actors and fairies. They are all put in one so that you get the different experience. I'll talk about the major characters first and then we will move on to the play. So actually this is a play in layers. There are many layers, many things are happening simultaneously during this play. So not just as I've mentioned, not just the humans but also the fairies. So let's try to understand why Shakespeare is trying to do this, why he is giving us such a layered play. So what happened during the time when he was writing this play, the people or the writers were given money or they were supported, like how in YouTube we have like OnlyFans or something, right? So of course they need to survive, and then the money they were getting or the name and fame they were getting from the rich people of their country. So they had to make sure that the rich people are happy, but then also had to make sure that the common man are actually coming to watch his video. The common people are actually coming and seeing what he's doing. So he had to include everyone. He had to make everyone feel included in that video. So this is why the major characters are also in three different layers. So the first character we have is Theseus and his wife or his bride Hippolyta. They are the Duke of Athens. Hippolyta is the queen of Amazon and she is going to be Theseus's wife. So this is like the highest strata. They are the kings and the queens and we cannot touch them. Like the common people like us, we don't know about them. Then we come with these four characters. This is Hermia, Lysander, Helena and Demetrius. These are common people like us. They are normal people. They have a normal life. So we can empathize and sympathize with them. So Hermia is a young woman. She is in love with Lysander. Hermia and Lysander. Then there is Helena who is in love with Demetrius. So Hermia and Helena are the two ladies. We usually get confused with these two names. So just remember, Hermia is with Lysander and Lysander is in love with Hermia. Hermia, Lysander, these two are made for each other. And there is another couple which is Helena and Demetrius. So Demetrius was in love with Hermia and then later he falls in love with Helena. Helena and Demetrius, this is not the perfect couple. A lot of things happen between them. So this is our other couple. After this, now we have covered the kings, the queens and then the normal people, right? We have covered these two stratas. So now we are moving to the other realm, which is the magical area, the magical realm. Here we have the king Oberon and his queen Titania. These two are the main characters, Oberon and Titania from the land of fairies. Okay, and then we also have one more character in this same magical area, the fascinating area, which is Puck or Robin Goodfellow. His name is Robin Goodfellow, but we also call him Puck. He is a mischievous fairy servant to Oberon. Okay, so he will follow the instructions given to him by Oberon. So now what we have covered the kings and queens, we have covered the common people, and we have also covered the magical area. After this, we will come to the lowest strata of the society, which is the weavers, the craftsmen, all these people, and they are actually playing a play. They are actually preparing a play for the wedding of Theseus, that is the Duke of Athens. So this covers the last area, the last strata of the society. So now you can see Shakespeare is trying to take everyone in this play. Like no one is left. Doesn't matter which part of society you belong to, you will find at least one of the characters related to you. So even if you did not remember all these characters, it's fine. You don't have to stress about it. You will be able to remember them better once we start discussing the play. So let's start with Act 1 as a total of 2 scenes. The first scene opens with Theseus. You remember Theseus and Hippolyta, they are the kings and queens of Athens. So they are talking about their upcoming wedding, and Aegeus, a noble man, enters with his daughter Hermia. You remember Hermia and Lysander? They are the perfect couple. So this Aegeus, he enters with his daughter Hermia and two young men, Lysander and Demetrius. Now what happens is Hermia and Lysander, they love each other, but Aegeus wants Hermia to marry Demetrius. So now there is a rule in Athens that a lady has to obey whatever her father tells her. If not, then she has to die. That was the rule in Athens, not now, okay? In that time, that was the rule. So now Hermia says that no, I want to marry for love. I don't want to marry just because my father is asking me to marry someone. I cannot do this. So the Duke of Athens, he kind of agrees with what she's saying, especially when she tries to tell him that you are also marrying for love, because he was about to get married, right? So the rule is either you do what your father says or you die. So he says, okay, I will better this rule a little bit for you. I will change it. So either you marry whom your father is asking you to, or you spend the rest of your life as a nun in celibacy, so that you cannot marry anyone else. So he gives her 4 days to choose between either spending the life as a nun or to marry Demetrius. With this, our scene 1 completes. Then we move to scene 2. This is a group of craftsmen which I was talking about, that this is the lowest strata of the society. There is a whole group of people which is led by Peter Quince. They are rehearsing a play which they are planning to perform on Theseus' wedding. This is called, the name of the play is called Pyramus and Thisbe. And everyone is getting a role. Bottom is the weaver, and like everyone is getting a role. So you get to see, this is like the comic part of the play. So what Shakespeare is trying to do is that he's trying not to make the play very heavy. As you have seen in scene 1, it's very heavy. The lady has to choose between death and celibacy. 2 also has 2 scenes. With this, we move on to Act 2. In Act 2, scene 1 now, we are finally moving to the magical realms. So we have already seen the kings and queens, the common people, and the craftsmen. Now we are moving to the magical area. So what happens is the king and the queen. The king is Oberon, the queen is Titania. So they are fighting about an Indian prince. This Indian prince was the son of Titania's friend. So she wants to keep him with her. But Oberon wants this Indian prince as his servant. So they kind of fight about this thing, and Oberon gets really upset. He wants to seek revenge on his wife. So what he tells Puck? He tells Puck that, okay, you go and get this magical flower, and we will take the juice, or we'll make a potion out of that flower, and then we will put it on Titania's eyes. And then, because of this magical potion, she will fall in love with the first creature that she sees up upon waking. Right? Oh, funny. So far it's going good. This brings us to scene 2 of Act 2. Hermia and Lysander, they want to marry each other, and because this rule of die or become a nun or marry with the choice of your father is only applicable in Athens. So these two, they decide that they will leave Athens and they will move to Lysander's aunt in another country. Then there they can get married and there won't be anyone behind them. So they decide to elope. Now the twist here is that Helena is in love with Demetrius. Demetrius is the same guy that Hermia's father wants her to marry. So actually Helena is in love with him, and he does not love Helena, and he wants to marry Hermia. So now this Helena, she is very sad, and she was actually a very good friend of Hermia before all this happened. So, because she is so sad, Hermia ends up telling Helena about her plan of running away. She tells Helena that me and Lysander, we are going to run anyway, so you don't have to worry. You can actually marry Demetrius once we have left. But this Helena, you can say she's kind of stupid, or maybe she was so much in love that she just felt that if there's any way that she could get approval of Demetrius, she would do it. So she went and told Demetrius about Hermia running away from Athens. She thought that maybe after this Demetrius would fall in love with her. So Demetrius, he was so angry, he followed these two, Hermia and Lysander, into the dark forest. And then Helena also followed Demetrius into the dark forest because she loved him so much. And this is the same dark forest where Puck has gone to get the magical flower, and all these things where the king and queen of the magical land were also in this dark forest. So now this you can see, like, usually it happens in comedy movies. Everyone ends up at the same place, and then this situational comedy happens. This is what is going to happen here. after this act. With this, we move on to Act 3. Now, Act 3 is in this dark forest. What happens is that Oberon puts that potion, the magical potion, on Titania's eyes, and then she wakes up. But what she wakes up to? Actually, she wakes up to Bottom. Bottom is one of the craftsmen who was a character who was playing as a character in the play. And then during the play, what he decided was that he would put on a donkey face. You know, we put masks and all, so like that, he put on a donkey face, and Titania wakes up to that. So now Titania has fallen in love with what? She has fallen in love with a human who's wearing a donkey mask. She has fallen in love with that, which is very funny, of course, right? And then we also see Oberon who sees that all this is happening in the forest. These four lovers, two of them are in love, they're running away. Then Demetrius is in love with Hermia, but Hermia doesn't love him back, while Helena loves Demetrius, but Demetrius doesn't love him back. So Oberon feels bad for these human beings. So he asks Puck to put this magic potion on Demetrius's eyes, so that when he sees Helena, he will end up falling in love with Helena. So then, then this would be good, because those two couple are already in love with each other, and then these two can also fall in love with each other. But what Puck does is, he accidentally puts that magical potion on Lysander. So when Lysander wakes up, he ends up falling in love with, and then he also puts that potion on Demetrius. So then he also falls in love with Helena. So now while both the guys wanted to marry Hermia, now they both want to marry Helena. Now Helena gets really upset. She thought that this was a joke that they were all playing on them, but actually they had both fallen in love with her because of the magical potion. So now this creates this very chaotic situation. Everyone is fighting, screaming, crying. A lot is going on. And finally, when Oberon, he saw what happened. So with this, we will move on to Act 4. Oberon saw what happened, and then he tells Puck to bring another flower which will get them out of their sleep. Like, it is kind of like unlove magic potion. So then Puck brings that flower, and then Oberon puts that potion on Titania and as well as Lysander. So then these two, they wake up from actually what has happened, and then they go back to their normal life. So Titania, she leaves that donkey man, and on the other hand, Hermia and Lysander, they fall in love with each other again, and then they go and marry each other. And on the other side, Lysander and Helena, they are still in love with each other because of the potion. Because of the potion, Demetrius still loves Helena, and Helena already loved him. So then they decide to get married, and they start to live happily with each other. With this and the wedding, all of this, the Act 4 concludes. And we also see the play which was so bad, the play which was being played by the craftsmen, it was so bad that everyone ends up laughing. They were actually planning to have a serious play, but it was really, really bad. Imagine someone wearing a donkey mask and then doing the play. So it was so funny that everyone ends up enjoying it. And finally, in the Act 5, we see Puck delivering an epilogue. He's asking the audience to view the entire play as a dream. He reminds the audience that if they did not enjoy the play, they can consider it as nothing more but than a fantasy. And we also see all these characters, they apologize again and again to the audience that if there was anything that they did not like, then they should just forget about it. So because Shakespeare was trying to apologize to his patrons because he needed money for his entire play to survive, for him to be able to write more and keep performing. So he was apologizing to them in disguise. And this is how we can conclude the whole Midsummer Night's Dream. This is a delightful comedy that showcases the complexities of love and the magical dreams of the fairies. I also have added some important quotes which were given in this play. I would just read them out. And you can also pause the screen and then keep it for your reference if you need. I have also added the acts and scenes in which these quotes were spoken. So the first quote is given by Lysander. The course of true love never did run smooth. The second quote is given by Puck. Lord, what fools these mortals be. This third quote was given by Helena. Love looks not with the eyes but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. The next quote is given by Oberon. I know a bank where the wild thyme blows, where oxlips and the nodding violet grows. quite over canopied with luscious woodbine, with sweet musk rose and eglantine. And the last quote is given by Puck. Again, this is during the epilogue of the play. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear. With this, the whole play ends and concludes. I hope this made the play a little bit more clearer to you. And you can also actually check on YouTube. You can see the play itself in like an hour or so, where you can understand this better. But at least I have given you a gist of the play, and then you know what happens act by act of this play. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please like, share and subscribe. And let me know in the comment section if you want me to cover anything else.